Good evening from the XL Center in St. Paul. For more than a year and a half, the Twin Cities have been planning a big Midwestern welcome from the Republicans with a budget of $60 million and 10,000 local volunteers. But today was not what anybody had in mind. In deference to Hurricane Gustav's arrival in the Gulf, there were no primetime speakers at all tonight. As if Gustav had not dampened spirits here enough, today brought another kind of trouble with the revelation that the 17-year-old daughter of John McCain's choice for vice president, Sarah Palin, is 5 months pregnant. Lisa Fletcher went to Palin's hometown of Wasilla, Alaska, to find out more.
Governor Sarah Palin of the great state of Alaska.
John McCain's choice of Sarah Palin as a running mate was only the most recent surprise she's had. The 44-year-old mother of 5 is going to be a grandmother. This morning, Palin and the McCain campaign released the news that her 17-year-old daughter, Bristol, was pregnant.
It's out in the open. Everybody's going to know about it. So why try to sweep it under the rug or hide from it or run from it?
Rumors had been circulating for months, but over the weekend, a barrage of bloggers clogged websites with stories that the governor never actually gave birth 5 months ago, but was raising the child of her teenage daughter.
Morning.
Today, the McCain campaign set the record straight, revealing that the pregnancy came up during Governor Palin's vetting.
We think it is very important that the governor's daughter is afforded the exact same privacies that children of candidates past have been afforded. And in that respect, we hope that the media is very respectful of her privacy in the days and weeks and months ahead.
So far, it doesn't seem the situation's being used by Democrats to gain political advantage. Barak Obama immediately took the high road.
My mother had me when she was 18. And, you know, how family deals with issues and you know, teenage children, that shouldn't be the topic of our politics.
It's unclear whether this will damage the ticket, but back in Palin's home state of Alaska, criticism surfaced as people responded to the news with online comments to the Alaska paper. Some questioning whether she was putting her ambition ahead of her family. One wrote, "I cannot believe that the Palins exposed their own vulnerable child like this to the world, knowing the criticism she would receive." Another, tough on Palin's views on abstinence-only education in the schools, said abstinence education really works if you want your children pregnant too young. Then you can compound the problem by getting them married too young. The Palins say it was their daughter's choice to keep the baby and marry the father. News of the pregnancy also came as a complete surprise to Palin's biographer.
When did you find out?
Just a couple of hours ago, myself.
Kayleen Johnson's book on the rising star governor has quadrupled in sales since the VP announcement last week. Johnson says Palin's known for her consistency between her public and private life and believes she'll handle this without flinching.
They're a very close, tight-knit family, and I think that they're going to circle the wagons here, and they're going to support each other and support Bristol throughout this process and throughout the days ahead. And I think that as a strong family, and they have a very strong family unit, that they will basically move forward.
Here in Alaska, the governor's astounding 80% approval rating isn't likely to suffer.
We're Alaskans. We stick together. We're a family.
She's viewed as a renegade, willing to take on big oil, quadrupling taxes on the companies that make huge profits from Alaskan resources, and big projects like getting a $40 billion natural gas pipeline off the drawing board. To many here, she's a David battling Goliaths.
And this is a woman who talked to the president of Exxon, to the president of BP, to the president of Conoco, to the president of Shell, and all the other companies, one-on-one.
But Palin is not without her skeptics and detractors, accused by some of strategically pulling her support of the $400 million bridge to nowhere for political gain. Alaska State Senate President Lyda Green says while Palin may be popular with voters, she's not so popular with politicians, even within her own party.
And if you agree with her way, that's great. You know, if you happen not to, it's not so fortunate.
Green is part of an ethics investigation into whether Palin abused her office to get her former brother-in-law fired from his job as a state trooper.
Frankly, our position at the paper has been this guy doesn't deserve to be a trooper, but the governor and her family shouldn't be using their position as first family or as the governor's staff to try to reopen a case that has already been handled.
The investigation is still in its early stages. Palin has denied any wrongdoing. It's just one more challenge for a woman who is able and ambitious and suddenly playing in a much larger arena.
I think it's quite a leap to go from 2 years as Alaska governor to potentially being president of the United States in the event of a presidential catastrophe. In my mind, it's the equivalent of taking the star pitcher who's hot and rising in the minor leagues and making them the starting pitcher on the all-star team.
That said, those who've watched her know she plays to win.
People have underestimated her throughout her career, and she has often proven them wrong.
This is Lisa Fletcher for Nightline in Wasilla, Alaska.